have today's guest speaker with us. Dr. Ashok Kumar sir is there. So this is the last day of our training program, and the schedule of today's training program is that the first lecture will be there by Dr. Ashok Kumar sir. Second lecture will be there by Dr. Yogesh Gadekar sir, and it will be followed by 2 minutes break to make the arrangements, and afterwards we'll be continuing with the validatory program, and other instructions also will be given. So I now request Dr. Girish Panchabhai sir to kindly start today's schedule.
Very good evening. Welcome, sir. I welcome today's guest speaker, Dr. Ashok Kumar Walubdasu, sir, and all the participants, distinguished participants from different corners of the country. So I welcome you all. And as today, this is the final day of our training. So our schedule is very tidy. So that's why we're starting it right now. And the first lecture will be delivered by Dr. Ashok Kumar Walubdasu sir, and I'm going to introduce him. So all of us, we know that who is Dr. Walubdasu now, but still the persons who have not attended his first lecture, for them I would like to again introduce with the speakers, today's speaker. Whether my screen is visible? Today, Dr. Walubdasu sir is a very special guest lecturer or guest speaker for us, who has a vast experience in particularly sheep and goat area, and he will be talking on a very important topic, that is practical tips on general management of goats. Dear friends, Dr. Walubdasu sir is presently working as Deputy Director, Veterinary and Animal Husbandry, Telangana State. Dr. Walubdasu sir is he has joined Telangana State Government Service in the year 1989 and now completed 32 years of service. He has participated in several local live TV shows and all India radio programs on particularly sheep and goat. He wrote many articles in local newspaper, particularly on sheep and goat. He is trying to promote intensive sheep and goat farming through Satya Zero Grazing and Clips WhatsApp platforms, where in around 5,100 vets, that is field vets, veterinary teaching faculty, scientists across India have been participating as members. I am also one of the members out of them, in association with the CSA Hyderabad, that is Center for Sustainable Agriculture, organizing. They are organizing 3 webinars in a month on sheep and goat particularly, along with the Alembic Pharma as a knowledge partner. As Alembic Pharma is also a knowledge partner to us. So with their collaboration, they are arranging 3 webinars. So far, Sir conducted 7 webinars on sheep and goat. He is maintaining one YouTube channel also, and wherein all webinars organized by the Satya Zero Grazing Group have been uploaded, and you can enjoy those videos. So far, he has participated as a speaker in two international webinars organized by MAPSU, and he has participated in 4 times as a speaker in national webinars, and this is his 6th time in this training itself. It is his 2nd lecture. So overall 6 times he will be appearing as a national webinar speaker. So this is what about short biodata of Ashok Kumar Valubasu sir. And now I request Dr. Valubasu sir to please share his experience with us, to guide us on practical tips on general management of sheep, general management of goats. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yes. Good evening to all. I am Dr. Ashok Kumar Valpadasu, working as Deputy Director in Veterinary and Animal Husbandry Department, Telangana Government. Today is the 5th day of the 5 days national training program organized by MAPSU, Maharashtra, India. The topic is management practices of goats and tips to be followed. So one need to understand what is goat farm management. Goat farm management is a process of dealing with or controlling goat farming activities. All the goat farming activities are called as goat husbandry activities also. Goat farm management is an art. It involves a sound application of 4 basic principles of management. There are 4 basic principles of management, that is breeding, feeding, culling, and heeding. All these 4, they may look like different kind of principles, but all of them are interdependent on each other. So I will be explaining in the future slides what are the tips to be taken while taking care of breeding activity and feeding activity, culling activity, and heeding activity. First, let us understand what is the importance of goat farm management. Until unless we understand the importance, so we may not give proper attention to the farm management. Goat farm management is important to reach primary object of goat farming. See, for every entrepreneur, there is one primary objective. So what is this primary objective? Primary objective is maximum farm productivity and maximum profitability. These 2 are the primary objectives of goat farming, and whoever he may be, whether it is a traditional farmer or a non-traditional farmer or a young entrepreneur and a person who is following farming since years. So their primary objective will be getting maximum farm productivity and maximum profitability. But these are the terms which are to be understood again, not just farm management. What is farm productivity and what is profitability? If any farmer who is doing farming is attending this webinar, so this may be helpful to you, helpful to him. Understanding farm productivity and understanding profitability is very, very important for existing farmers and also for the farmers who are going to start the goat farming. Farm productivity depends on average number of kids sold per each breeding cycle. Average number of kids sold for each breeding cycle. So this farm productivity is estimated for meat breeds only. We know very well that in India, sheep and goat are reared majorly for meat purpose. The average daily gain of newborns. These 2 are the indications of farm productivity. then how many kids are to be sold from each farm? See, one should be able to sell 160 kids per every 100 goat breeders in one breeding cycle, not per year, in one breeding cycle. And there will be 3 breeding cycles in every 2 years reproductive life of goat. So the breeding cycle length is 8 months. How this is calculated? See, these are the minimum calculations I have given. It should be more than that also. If a farmer holds 100 goat breeders, so let us assume that only 90% of them have conceived. It should be more than that, but I have taken only minimum figures. And for medium sized breeds, the twinning is the common factor. So I have taken 2 kids per each kidding. So if 90 breeders have conceived, they will be delivering 180. There will be mortality also from birth to sale. So that should be maximum 5%. And for adults also there will be mortality. See, even if we take all preventive measures, still few may suffer with mortality. So that also should not exceed 5%. So if we deduct this 10% mortality from the 180, so the survived should be minimum 162. So 1.6 kids are to be sold per each doe per each breeding cycle. So this is how the farm productivity is to be calculated. So these are the 4 factors which influences farm productivity. Because I told in the beginning itself, I have calculated farm productivity considering that each doe will deliver 2 kids in each kidding. But if you maintain large sized breeds, the twinning is not common. So it depends on the breed, depends on the feed also, because conception and delivery depends majorly on feed. The feed is imbalanced or insufficient, there may not be 90% consumptions also. And health management is very, very important. If the pregnant animal suffers with the disease, it may also affect farm productivity. And finally, the management. These are the 4 factors which influences the farm productivity. Then what is average daily gain? It is a quantitative measure. And it is per day weight gain in growing kids. Per day weight gain in growing kids, not in adults. Then how profitability is counted and what is profitability? It is the net income generated from farm, not gross income. It is net income generated from farm, and the net profits are always calculated as gross profits minus farm expenses. Whatever the farm expenses, all are to be deducted from gross profits to get net profits. And profitability also influenced by farm productivity. And it is influenced by production cost also. Even if you get 160 kids out of 100 breeders, if the production cost is too high, you may not get sufficient profits. And finally, it depends on sale price. If you cannot sell the kids in a competitive price in the market, you will not be able to get sufficient profits out of this farming. So this production cost is cost of producing 1 kg live meat. Cost of producing 1 kg live meat. And production cost is influenced by flock productivity, feeding cost, culling percentage. If the culling percentage is too high, so it affects production cost adversely. And management expenditures. If there are extra overhead expenditures other than the required, then the production cost will increase. And fixed investments. And this is another part which are to be calculated by considering the production cost. So whatever the unproductive investment made while establishing the farm, it directly influences the production cost. Then sale price. The main competitor is traditional shepherd. See, for a farmer who is maintaining goat or sheep in intensive farming, and if he is going to sell his lambs or kids which are ready for slaughter, the first problem he faces is the competitor, and that is the only competitor is the traditional shepherd, who maintains the goat or sheep in zero input farming sale. So the sale price is very, very important. Even if you get sufficient number of kids and even if you get very good average daily gain, until unless you sell them in a competitive price, your profitability will go down. So it depends on whether it is a competitive price or a distress sale price or culling price. Then how to get maximum farm productivity and how to get maximum profitability, because these two are the major objectives of goat farming. The best farm management is the only solution and option. There is no other solution and there is no other option also. The best farm management is the only solution and only option. Then who is responsible for this? Who should take care of farm management and who should be held responsible for this? It is none other than the farm owner or his representative or farm manager or supervisor. They are responsible for the best management practices and they are the key persons in implementing the best management. But there are certain requisites for the farm owner even to implement the best management practices. One, they should have liking to the goats. They should have interest in goat farming. It is not just that they have a lot of money and they have invested and they have attached it to the somebody who is looking after the farm. So they themselves should have liking and interest. And most important point is caregiving attitude. This is very, very important part of for best farm management. And it is always better to have personal supervision. And personally, I always advise them to stay at the farm in the first 1 year, for the first 9 to 12 months. And they need to make one farm specific management chart. I will explain what is farm specific management in the future slides. And there are certain things they need to know. What are they? These are the terms they need to know. One is what is kid, a young goat of either sex. What is doe? Doe is also called as noni. What is buck, adult male? It is also called billy. Buckling, weaned male. Doling, weaned female. And suckling, female with weaning kid. And they should know what is a breeder, a male or female. A male or female adult goat with optimum reproductive life. A castrated male goat is called as wether. And all those goat which crosses 7 to 8 years of age, they are called as spent because their reproductive performance decreases significantly after 7 years of age. So when the inter-kidding period is increased, so the animal may not be of much useful for reproduction. Kidding is the act of delivery and serving is the act of mating. And a group of goats is called flock. A group of goats is flock or band. So here is the meat terminology. We know that meat of adult goat is called as chevan and meat of young goat is called kid. And they need to understand the health science of animals also. This is very, very important when they are identifying the sick animals in the farm. And this is self-explanatory. So in goats, the tail should point upwards. This is the major indication of healthiness. And it should not suffer with lameness or nasal discharges, or should not suffer with cough, should not suffer with diarrhea, and it should be ruminating. This is another important indication of health, good health. The feces should be granular top. There should not be any presence of arthropods. And these are the physiological parameters. So I have highlighted with dark colors. These three are important. In fact, rectal temperature is 103 to 104 Fahrenheit degrees temperature. This is most confusing for the beginners. They always think that the rectal body temperature is not more than 101. And this is a bit higher in kids. It may cross 104. 104 to 105 is common in weaning kids. So not to get confused that the animals are suffering with fever. And they get puberty at 4 to 10 months of age only. This is another important point to be noted by the entrepreneurs. So not to allow the animals which are farm born, not to allow the animals which are farm born to get mated with the male available in the farm, because they are ready to be mated at the age of 4 to 10 months. They should not be allowed. So this is one of the main reason. Whenever we go to village, we find number of kids walking behind only few adults, and the gestation period is 150 days. And age determination is another important point which is to be noted by the beginners. The teeth is the indication of long, healthy and productive life, because majority of goat are reared under open grazing system. Even if they are maintained in stall feeding, they should be able to pick the feed and fodder what is offered in the feed troughs. Until unless they have teeth, they cannot consume it properly, and even if they consume, they cannot ruminate. The tooth development is a good estimate of age also, because at different ages, different type of teeth are erupted, and tooth condition is the better indicator of health. It is the better indicator of health and production potential than age. So these photographs I have collected from my personal album. So these are available in internet also. One can check, one can appreciate the photographs by seeing them. And here you can find that these two are the permanent ones. And here is a clear picture which shows that this is the right age. This is the right age where we should allow the animal for mating. 2 to 3 years of age and 6 years of age. And this is the age where we need to cull the animal. That is the reason I always advise the beginners or existing farm owners to learn about dentition. Once they cross 7 years or 8 years of, they start losing the teeth. And prevention is always better than cure, particularly in sheep and goat. The best way to deal with the health problem is to prevent it from occurring. Management and maintenance of health is part of farm management. So one should understand the source of illness and predisposing reasons, so that he can maintain the farm in a better way. So the source of illness is imbalanced nutrition. If a farm manager can understand the sources of illness and predisposing reason, he can take care in the farm management in a better way. Imbalanced nutrition, undernutrition, infected soil, infected air, contaminated water, contaminated feed, carrier animal, ailing animal, all these are the sources for illness. The lack of natural passive immunity, which is acquired by the young one from the mothers through colostrum. So if it is lacking in that particular immunity, that will become a predisposing reason for illness. And stress and starvation, overcrowding, poor hygiene, sanitation, poor biosecurity, extreme weather. Extreme weather also a predisposing reason for illness. And preventive health care. The neglected preventive health care is another predisposing reason for illness of goat. So when it starts, actually, when the farm management starts, the goat farm management starts from the first day of establishing a farm. See, there are 3 phases of establishing a farm, that is pre-establishment farm and establishment farm and post-establishment farm. And the goat farm management, whoever stays at the farm, so you should understand that it starts from the first day of the establishment of farm, and it begins with unloading. and care on arrival. Care on arrival of animals which are procured from different sources. And this farm management is in tune with the arrangements and facilities which were made at the time of establishment of the farm, and all the housing facilities, all the other infrastructure, and everything, every arrangement and every facility which was made at the beginning during establishment phase. So they are to be tuned along with the goat farming. And these are the 4 types of management activities. There are certain activities which are to be carried out every day. It is not that all the activities are to be carried out every day. There are only certain activities which are to be carried out daily. And there are certain farm management activities to be carried out periodically. And there are certain activities of farm management which are to be carried out as and when required. And there are certain activities which are of emergency type. So these are the 4 types of management activities. And as per type of management activity, the farm owner or farm manager, they need to prepare their own chart. Like a student who prepares a timetable for studying the exam, for preparing for the exams, the farm owner or supervisor, they need to prepare daily activity chart and specific charts. Goat farm management is breed specific. It is not same for all breeds. And goat farm management is farming type specific. For open grazing farmers and for stall feeding farmers, the farm management is little bit different. And it is feeding specific also. Feeding specific means whether they are using cotton carry system, or whether they are using crop residues, or whether they are using silage system, or whether they are using hydroponic system. So according to the type of feeding system used, the goat farm management differs. And it is area specific also. Area specific means if a goat farm is maintained at a place like Jammu and Kashmir, they need to focus more on housing and making the housing environment warm during the cold times. But whereas a farmer who starts a farm at a place like Telangana, so such type of arrangements are not required even at CARG Magdum. So they take all type of measures during winter, particularly housing care. And it is time specific also. And these are the activities which are to be carried out daily. First, let us list out the activities which are to be carried out daily. After that, we can discuss about the tips on these activities. Feeding and watering, this is the daily activity, we know all very well. Care of weaning and care of weaned. Care of breeding buck. Care of pregnant animals and care of lactating animals. And continuing the treatment of already ailing animals. Continuing the treatment of already ailing animals which were treated yesterday or day before yesterday, though that particular duration of treatment is to be continued. And observing the flock and identification of new sick animals. This is very, very important even in village also. If anyone have the experience of attending the shepherds early in the morning, they can find the shepherd in their flock itself early in the morning. So he straight away from his bed, he goes to his flock and he keeps observing. So which animal is sick and which animal is suffering with any kind of symptoms like diarrhea or cough or nasal discharges. So this is to be done every day. And breeding care, hygiene, farm sanitation, farm disinfection and biosecurity, this is daily activity. And record writing is one of the daily activity. Record keeping is very, very important in stall feeding farms. And these are the activities which are to be carried out periodically, like procurement of dry feed and fodder. Procurement of dry feed and fodder like crop residues or concentrates, ingredient of to make concentrate feed. So they are to be procured periodically. Drinking water testing. Testing of drinking water is to be done periodically, if possible once in 3 months or at least once in 6 months. This is very, very important because water is a major nutrient. We know all very well that. And fecal test examination. This is to be done periodically. And vaccination, we know that is a term-bound program. And as per the immunity period offered by particular specific antigen or vaccine, we need to repeat it again. So this is to be carried out periodically. And shearing or clipping. See, whatever applicable, whatever the term is applicable, this is also a periodical activity, not a daily activity. And changing top layer of shed flooring if they are maintained under with muram or gravel. These are for ground sheds. We need to change the top 6 to 9 inches top layer of shed flooring. This is to be done periodically. So there are certain bacteria which are which make soil as a source of infection. And whitewashing of sheds and water troughs. This is another important point. This is to be done periodically. And these are the activities which are to be carried out as and when required. As and when required, that is delivery care. Until unless we do ester synchronization and EAI. So delivery is as and when required. Delivery care is as and when required activity. And we need to take care of the newborn once it is kidded. We need to take care of the newborn. And orphan feeding. See, by birth itself, it is not at all possible to lose the mother. So once kidded, if by any chance, if mother is expired, so the kid becomes orphan. In such cases, that is the reason I kept this point as and when required category. Deworming is also to be done as and when required. As per the fecal test report, which is to be done periodically. Under the fecal test report demands deworming, then only you need to do it. There is no fixed schedule for this. And castration, it also as and when required. And it is also as per demand. And ear tagging as and when required. Because in few parts of India, ear tagging becomes a problem for sale of animals. So deticking, this is control of arthropods. This is also to be done as and when required. Not to dip the animals periodically and not to spray insecticides periodically. This is to be done as and when required only. Hoof trimming also, it is an activity which is to be carried out as and when required. And breeder ram replacement. This is another important factor which influences breeding activity of the farm. And culling is one of the 4 basic principles of farming. And we need to sell the culled animals. It is not just culling, we need to make money out of it. And the replacement of culled stock, the farm strength should be maintained as it is after culling also. So we need to replace the quantity of animals or number of animals which are culled. And sale of farm born animals. This is number of kids to be sold comes under this category. The new arrival care, whenever you try to bring new animals from outside, either to increase the farm capacity or to replace the culled animals. So you need to take new arrival care. And quarantine, this we all know very well. And hygienic disposal of dead. And collection of manure. Sometimes it may be a daily activity, depends on the local area. So disposal of composted manure. So once the manure is composted, it should be periodically sold out, which is a secondary income in goat farming. And these are the activities which are to be carried out in emergency. So delivery assistance is an emergency activity. In generally 90% of the goat, they do deliver in a normal way. But in any case, if there is a need of assistance, we need to provide assistance. It is an emergency activity. And assisting the kid for colostrum feeding, because colostrum is to be consumed within first 15 to 30 minutes after birth. So we need to assist the kid for colostrum feeding, and isolation of identified new sick, and the primary treatment of new sick, and consulting a veterinarian is very, very important emergency activity. Even if a farmer or even if a owner knows everything, sometimes it is very much required to consult a vet. And in case of deaths, and if the animals are insured, inform the insurance agencies an emergency. And arranging for post-mortem, if any, that is also an emergency. Now we will go one by one. So this is the first basic principle of goat farm management. Breeding is a major part of farming. So the major source of income is sale of kids. When we consider the breeding activity is done for meat purpose only, the major source of income is sale of kids, either for slaughter or for breeding. And profits always depends on number of kids sold. That is the reason breeding is a major part of farming. Until unless we get sufficient number of kids, and until unless we are able to sell sufficient number of kids in the market, so there is no use, and there is no there is no meaning in maintaining a breeding unit. And these are the breeding tips. Today I am going to explain you only the tips. So you should assign one male goat to every 20 female permanently. See, this is a major mistake. Sometimes few people, they do it. They don't assign one particular male to one particular 20 group of animals. This is to be assigned permanently. This is to prevent inbreeding, and not to allow male to mate other assigned animals, and not to do crossbreeding. This is another important point. So if you want to maintain Sirohi, just you maintain Sirohi. And if you are interested in two types of breeds like Sirohi and Boyer, and you maintain 20 number Sirohi and 20 number Boyer. And if you are really interested in beetle also, you can keep 20 numbers, but not to do crossbreeding. And you can, I suggest upgrading. If required, you can go for upgrading. Non-descript females can be upgraded with recognized breeds. And allow male into female group in early hours for 45 to 60 minutes. This is important part of breeding. Not to keep male with the females throughout the day. You allow the male into female group in early hours for 45 to 60 minutes only. And if you notice any mating, you please record it. Record keeping is very important. And keep male in a separate partition always. But it should be installed just beside the female group for which it is assigned. So presence of male induces heat in females. This is another very, very important point in breeding. If you keep male along with the females or just beside the partition of females, it induces heat. To assess the libido of male and percentage of consumption, because until unless you maintain record, you cannot assess this libido of the male. And if the libido is not satisfactory, immediately you can cull it, you can replace it. And you identify the repeat breeders. And replace the male after attaining 4 years of age. So the breeding activity should be allowed for a male at the age of 1.5 years to 2 years. And you can keep it in the same flock for a period of another 2 to 2.5 years. After 4 years, its libido naturally decreases. And you need to replace females after attaining 7 years of age. This is the clear indication of rut season. Rut season is the breeding season in goats. The bucks, they urinate on their own heads. So this is a common phenomena which we observe in breeding farms. And this urine is more attractive to the females. And the bucks pee all over their front legs, not only on entire body, on heads, all over their front legs and beard also during the rut season. And raising his head high, and buck will curl his upper lip. Buck will curl its upper lip to detect the pheromones which tell him that the doe is receptive to being bred. If any female is in heat, it releases certain type of pheromones, and those pheromones are identified by only male only. And once it identifies those pheromones, so its upper lip is curled like this, as shown in the picture. So this is the sequence of sexual behavior. One is self-marking. So as I told in the previous slide, and it is sniffing of the vulval area. And phlegm, like curling the upper lip, and it always approaches the female in a lateral way. So the main reason of presenting these pictures is owner should understand whether the male is able to identify the females which are in heat or not. So finally it crosses and mounts and ejaculates. So those were the breeding tips, and now let us focus on feeding, because feeding is the most important part of goat farming. And all the farming expenses and whatever the farming expenses incurred during every day are on whole around 60 to 65% of daily farming expenses are towards feeding only. So we need to keep feed reserves sufficient for 100 days before bringing the animals into the farm. Before starting the farm, you keep feed reserves sufficient for 100 days, and you try to offer balanced feed. I will be explaining in the future slides what is balanced feed. And most important point is not to offer succulent non-legume fodders, not to offer succulent which contains high moisture content. This is very, very important. And if any farmer is attending this webinar, he can recollect his experiences. And you offer as much dry as possible. Try to offer dry fodder as much as possible. Just let us recollect the traditional farming system which is followed in Rajasthan. See, Rajasthan holds highest number of goat, and when we combine both sheep and goat, it holds first position in India. And we all know very well that there is no succulent non-legume fodder available for sheep and goat, but still they are in first position. The next important point is offer feed in divided equal quantities 4-5 times a day. You start feeding from 9 to 10 a.m. and you close it by 5 to 6 p.m. And if TMR is offered, if total mixed ration is offered, offer as much as they consume. So don't try to follow restricted feeding. If TMR is offered, let the animal consume as much as it prefers. And not to keep leftover feed in feeders all the day, because goats are selective in feeding. And if you keep the same feed and fodder throughout the day in the same feeder, the voluntary dry matter intake will be reduced, will come down. So don't keep leftover feed in feeders all the day. That is the reason I am advising to keep equal quantities 4-5 times a day. And remove leftover from feeders and keep feeders empty. See, when you are following a system of feeding the animals or offering the feed 4 times a day, a while before offering the next lot, you keep the feeders empty. Let the animals wait for the next feed lot. And before keeping the new feed, before keeping the next feed, remove the leftover film for the feeders. This is another important point. And not to give concentrate at the rate of not more than 1% if they are offering offering it separately. If they are not offering TMR and if they are offering concentrate, legumes and non-legumes separately, not to give concentrate more than 1% of body weight of the animal. And another important point is offer legumes in green shape only. Offer legumes in green shape. So cultivation of green fodder, cultivation of legume green fodders is mandatory because feeding should be not only balanced, it should be economical also. So to make feeding system economical, one needs to cultivate legumes and not to give legumes more than 1% of the body weight. Again, this is another important point. Not to offer same concentrate feed for all age groups because there are 3 types of concentrate feeds: creep feed, grower feed, and adult feed. So they need to have different proportions of DCP and different promotion of TDN. So not to offer same concentrate feed all age groups. And keep little quantity of fresh non-legume dry feed. Keep little quantity of fresh non-legume dry feed in feeders in night time. Here one word is missing, non-legume, because all the animals are not hungry in same position throughout the day. Few may need extra food also, even at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or early in the morning. So whichever needs extra food, so we must allow them to eat. So keep little quantity of non-legume dry feed. Please note this point, don't keep green fodder. So by the next day morning, it will gain fungus. And a newborn feeding. See, offer colostrum in first 30 minutes. Offering colostrum is mandatory. And if sufficient colostrum is not available, prefer colostrum of mothers of same flock. Because all the females of same flock will be exposed to same kind of disease and infections. So all will be carrying the same type of antibodies. So better to prefer colostrum of mother of same flock. And if mother's regular milk is not sufficient, mother's regular milk, not colostrum, mother's regular milk is not sufficient, offer extra milk till first 45 days life, because a kid is to be consumed 10% of milk on its body weight. And if any kid is orphaned, bottle feeding is mandatory. That is the reason I personally would advise new beginners to maintain one cow also in their farm. So they need not purchase cow milk every time because all these farms are located far away from the towns or taluk headquarters or district headquarters. So prefer milk of other goats or cow milk for bottle feeding. For bottle feeding, if sufficient quantity of milk is available from other goats of the same flock, you prefer that milk, or else you can prefer cow milk. And hanging of salt and mineral mixture blocks is advised for weaning kids. This is another important point. So availability of salt and mineral blocks may not be same in all the places, but they can search in Google, and if they can approach the representatives of reputed companies, they will be able to supply them. The soiled feed and fodder is to be discarded. Soiled means if the feed, whatever is left over in the feeders is mixed with the manure of the goat, that is to be discarded. And particularly in open paddock, when you offer feed and fodder in open paddock, the feeder shall be designed in such a way that kids do not sit and sleep in the feeders. But this is a general habit found in kids, not in lambs. So for this design, one can contact the CARG site. They have made certain designs for goat feeder, like goat feeders. So we need to offer creep feed for kids from 15th day. Please try to recollect the care what we take in our home for our newborn babies. So this feed is nothing but it is a soft, palatable, highly nutritious and high protein content fodder, content feed. So we need to offer feed along with milk and offer tender leaves from 30th day. This is another important point. See, this is the one of the activity which we commonly notice with the traditional farmers also. Until unless you provide tender leaves, the rumen will not develop after 45 days also. So the abomasum will be will be taking upper hand. So the during pre-ruminant stage, that is from birth to 45 days of age, we call the kid as pre-ruminant stage. And to make it ruminant, the rumen is to be developed. For the development of the rumen, we need to provide tender leaves. And this is the formula of feed. Feed should contain 1 grain, 1 bran, 1 cake. And the protein percentage should be 18%, not less than 18, and TDN 75%. So it should be highly digestible. And the few more feeding tips regarding offering drinking water. So drinking water is to be offered 24/7. It should be fresh, clean, and not to offer drinking water in first to 45 days life of newborn. Water is to be made available for adults, but not to offer drinking water in first to 45 days life for newborn, and not to prefer silage in small farms. Balanced feeding and economical feeding is very, very important factor which influences the profitability of the farm. So silage is expensive for small farmers, and not to prefer hydroponics because hydroponics contains high moisture content. In the beginning slides, I told that whatever the non-legume part offered to the goats, it should be as much dry as possible. And this is the meaning of balanced ration. They should have both legumes and non-legumes, and prefer to offer dry medicated TMR. This is out of my personal experience. I always advise the new beginners to offer TMR only, and the TMR should be a dry one as much as possible, and it should be medicated. So this is the thumb rule for balanced feeding, and a non-legume portion should not be more than 2% of the body weight, and legume should be not more than 1%, and concentrate should be not more than 0.5 to 1.5%. The remarks made in the last column are very, very important. If you are offering non-legume roughage, it can be given ad libitum. There is no limit for it. And you are offering both legume and non-legume, the legume portion should not exceed 40% of total dry matter available from roughages. And if you are offering TMR, TMR means which contains non-legume, legume and concentrate feed. This concentrate portion should not exceed 40% of total dry matter intake. And these are the formulas of concentrate feed. And this is how to make the TMR medicated. So there are certain problems which can be controlled, with better feeding system, like urinary calculi in bucks. This is a major problem which is noticed by farmers in buckling farms. To control urinary calculi, ammonium chloride can be added. And for controlling subacute ruminal acidosis and laminitis is one complication which is more noticed in intensive farming. Sodium bicarbonate can be added in the concentrate feed. And for controlling ones, copper sulfate can be added. And for controlling aflatoxins, you can add toxin binders. They are very much available in the market. So by adding these 4, you can prevent 4 types of nutritional disorders. These are called nutritional disorders, not infections. They are not caused by parasites. They are not caused by virus, bacteria, fungus, or anything. They are because of nutritional deficiencies. So these are to be prevented. And we need to provide drinking water 24/7. How we are offering is not important. What we are offering is very important. Drinking water is to be tested regularly. This is very, very important tip of farm management. And if the testing authority, the lab where the drinking water is tested, if they agree for allowing this water to the goods, then only you offer that water, or else you don't offer that water for the goods. And these are certain drinking specifications. And let's discuss about the third basic principle, that is culling. The first basic principle was breeding. The second basic principle was feeding. And now we are trying to discuss about culling. Culling is one of the major important farming activity. What is culling? Culling is a practice of eliminating uneconomic, unhealthy, and low producing goats from the flock. Until unless the animal is healthy and it is a producing animal, you will not get sufficient flock productivity. And if you do not get sufficient flock productivity, you will not get sufficient profits. So culling is one of the 4 basic principles of farming. So the best way, if any animal, if any goat is suffering with a disease, you first try to treat it. If you cannot treat it, you cull it. That is the only best option. And there are many diseases which cannot be prevented. There are certain vaccines available in the market, but even if you use all that vaccines which are available in the market, there are many diseases which cannot be prevented by giving vaccines. So there is every chance of getting these infections. So we need to treat them or we need to cull them. See, culling is a continuous management activity and it should not exceed 10% of flock per year. If the culling percent is too high, then you need to change the entire breeding stock. So you need to cull unadopted new stock also. When you procure new animals and when you keep them in quarantine, and if the animals are not adapted for you, the system which you are following, that is stall feeding, you need to cull them also, even if they are healthy. Even if they are healthy, if they are not adapted to the farming system, you need to cull them. You have to cull the chronic sick animals. There are certain animals which become sick chronically. They are sick chronically and they frequently fall sick. And you have to cull suspected carriers of the disease. They become source of infection. So you need to cull chronic weak animals whose body condition score is less than 2. So BCS is counted from 1 to 5. So this is chronic weak. If they are chronic weak, you need to cull them, and you have to cull unproductive and low productive animals and culling of aged also. This is the reason in the beginning I was advising the owner to know about dentition. Until unless he opens the mouth, sometimes the animal may look physically active, but if you open the mouth and check, it may have lost teeth. So need to understand the dentition, aging by dentition. And this is the body condition score. And rib cages are a clear indication. And the BCS 3 is the good condition. And if it is 2 or 1, just you need to cull, that is the best option. And by seeing from behind, that is from spinous process side, and these are the indications. And the third one is the best. And the fourth important basic principle is heeding. So this covers all other activities of farming, except breeding, except feeding, and except culling. The remaining all other activities falls under heeding, including housing, healthcare, sanitation, hygiene, and everything falls under heeding. So we need to take care on the arrival also. At the time of arrival of new flock or the beginning flock, they are to be quarantined for 30 days. You observe them, you treat them, and you cull them. If anyone is not cured with your treatment, you have to cull them. And post or arrival care is very, very important, not only keeping in quarantine. Once the animals have arrived into your farm, traveling all the way from a long distances like 3 to 4 days or 16 to 18 hours, don't offer feed and fodder for 3 to 2 hours. Let the animals settle down first. And in the beginning, offer glucose and vitamin added drinking water. This is not to make the animal suffer with hypoglycemia, because while traveling they may not have received sufficient feed and fodder. and check for injuries. If any, you have to treat them and isolate and treat them accordingly. And this is adaptability. And it is not sure that each and every animal which is brought from outside, which were under open grazing system, which were under open system, will be adapted to the new farming system, that is stall feeding. In general, this is my personal observation. Adaptability is 50 to 60% on day one, and by third day, adaptability will be 85 to 90% only in case of goat. In case of sheep, it is more than 90%. So we need to cull the non-adaptable goats. That is the reason I personally advise to procure 10% extra breeders. If your farm capacity is 100, you procure 110, so that if any animal is not adapted to the farming system, still even if it is culled, even it is replaced, you can replace with the extra animals available with you. And ear tagging is another mandatory activity of farm management. This is very much required for maintaining, for identifying the animals, and for insuring the animals, and for easy recording activities, and for ease of farm operations. This is also a skilled job. It should be applied in the middle of the year. So if we make 3 pots horizontally and 3 pots vertically, the middle third one is the place where the tag is to be applied. And after tagging, examine the tag whether it is correctly securely positioned or not, because this is the only indication, this is the only tool to identify the animals of the farm. And the recording is very important. And never apply tags as shown below. Never apply tags at the caudal end of the ear like this. And this is another important fact. Out of my personal experience, I am suggesting apply ear tags of different colors for every 20 breeders. If you have 100 animals or if you have 200 animals, apply 0 to 1 in red color. It need not be red color, just I am giving one example. It can be of any other color. But for every 20, the color of the tag should be different. So if you want to carry, or if you want to check an animal of 10 number tag, so you can search the animal in the red colored animals only, red colored tag bearing animals only. And you need to keep stock of your empty tags also, because if there is any mortality by any chance, that particular number may not be available again with the supplier. So if you have an empty tag, you can apply it and you can write it with a permanent marker pen. So after that, newborn care is very important in the farm management. It is one of the major farming activity, because until unless we protect the crop, until unless we get sufficient crop, and until unless we protect the crop from birth to sale, so there is no use, and naturally the farming becomes unsustainable. Colostrum feeding is very important. It is highly nutritious, keeps body warmth and newborn, and contains antibodies. These are received from the mother, and they are vital to help protect disease in the first 60 days of life, or at least in the first 45 days of life. They protect them from different kind of disease, provided mothers are to be vaccinated, and it acts as laxative also. So we need to feed it quickly within first 15 to 30 minutes. And this is one of the emergency farming activity. If the newborn is unable to consume colostrum from the mother, you need to assist, you need to hold the mother, or you need to hold the kid. So this was the activity which was placed under the category of emergency activities. And feed sufficient quantity of colostrum, and feed quality one. After that, proper disinfection of navel cord is very important. So these are the pictures. Just by seeing the pictures, one can appreciate themselves. So disinfection is very, very important to prevent tetanus infection and to prevent E. coli infection. These are the two major reasons of death, major reasons of preventing mortality. And providing warm shelters. Providing warm shelters to the newborn is another important activity, particularly during winter and during rainy season. They may suffer with hypothermia. Hypothermia is not a disease, it is a managemental disorder. And you need to give TT injection on the day of birth if mothers are not vaccinated. And vitamin A supplementation is very much required. So at the end of the PPT, I have given the preventive healthcare chart of newborn. The prophylactic use of one oral antibiotic. The use of coccidiostats with the creep feed. Creep feed is to be given from the day of 15th and coccidiostats are to be added in the creep feed. Because mothers are the source of infection for weaned animals, weaning animals and weaned animals. Mothers are the source of infection of coccidiosis. So we need to add creep feed, coccidiostat along with creep feed. And for newborns, the first deworming is to be done at the age of 45 to 60 days. But condition is if they are allowed for grazing. Otherwise, there is no need to do deworming till 90 days of age. But in generally, they are allowed for grazing or allowed to eat outside. So for first deworming is to be done once it crosses pre-ruminant stage. During pre-ruminant stage, don't do deworming. So first vaccination which is to be done is ET, enterotoxemia, followed by HS. The regular other vaccinations can be followed up as per prioritization or as per endemic history of that particular area. So after taking care of mothers, there is a need to take care of the pregnant animals also. So pre-delivery care is very, very important. During pre-delivery also, we need to provide balance in nutrition. In the previous slides, I have given the details how to provide balanced nutrition. I have given thumb rule. And we need to vaccinate against ET and ET and HS. These three are very, very important because these antibodies are to be passed on to the lamb kid through colostrum. So these three injections are to be given at the time of pregnancy. So for other diseases also, they need to be inoculated, and you need to use coccidiostat. Coccidiostats for the pregnant animals along with their concentrate feed, and proper housing is very much required. And at the time of delivery, the delivery pen should be very hygienic. So negligence in any one of these activity may become a predisposing reason for the disease or illness. Negligence in any one of the activity, it may lead to poor performance of the breeders. And post delivery also, again, we need to provide balanced nutrition. And after kidding, the mother newborn pen should be warm and hygienic. This is most important point. Because we keep kids along with the mothers for the first 72 hours. They should develop mother and kid bond, and colostrum is to be consumed by the kid for the first 72 hours, though the antibodies percentage will be reducing on the third day. So while keeping mother along with kid, we need to check whether the pen where these two are placed is warm and hygienic or not. And proper housing is to be provided from 4th day onwards, and the use of coccidiosis and periodical vaccination. And this is the hygiene, sanitation, and disinfection slide. After taking up all type of other farming activities, still we need to maintain hygiene, sanitation, and disinfection. And this is the daily activity to be carried out in the farm. This is the daily activity to be carried out in the farm. Disinfection also, it is a daily activity. Disinfection of inanimate objects like feeders, waterers, flooring, shed walls. You can use 3 types of common disinfectants. One is sunlight and heat and chemical disinfectants. So sunlight is the natural one. It naturally falls into the shed. This is the reason we advise to construct shed in east-west direction only. And chemical disinfectants. So these are available in the market. This is a regular practice. It is a daily activity. So you have to keep feeders in the sun, under the sun in open paddock. So it will get disinfected naturally. But still it is to be cleaned and it is to be disinfected with chemical. And you need to sprinkle dry lime powder every day. This is another important activity. And whitewashing is to be done for shed walls and open drinking water facility. This is a periodical activity, not everyday activity. And you need to remove top 9 to 12 inches of floor soil once in 3 months. So it is another periodical activity. And biosecurity, and we need to keep illness out of facility. We all know that food baths and restricting the traffic inside and out and maintaining closed forks and isolation, these all falls under biosecurity measures. And manure pits, these are to be designed and made at a distance far away from the farm area, because there is every possibility of predilection of arthropods like flies, lice. And if it is permeable to water, it becomes a source of infection for bacteria, source of predilection site, development site for bacteria. So it should be, pit should be impermeable for water. All these are farm management activities. And if there is any mortality, you should not open it without the help or without the assistance of the local vet. And if it is opened and if the, as per the veterinarian's advice, you need to bury it. And after burying, at least you have to cover the animal with the soil of not less than 2 feet thickness. So by seeing this picture, one can understand. And these disposable of dead animals, the pit where these animals are buried should be at least 100 yards away from the well facility, if it is, if at all it is present in that particular vicinity. And here are certain vaccination tips. Here is one vaccination chart or vaccination calendar. In general, it is called as calendar, but I don't call it as a calendar. It is just an suggestive chart. And vaccination should be taken up area wise. It is area specific and it is farming specific. So if I own a farm in Telangana and if I'm applying PPR vaccine here and the same person, and so the same person, that means me, if I own a farm at Mumbai and I need not apply the same type of vaccine at Mumbai, though the owner is same, though the number of animals and the farming system is same, because the area is different. In Maharashtra, goat pox is most prevalent, it is most endemic there. But in Telangana, goat pox is not prevalent and it is not endemic, because here goat population is very less. That is the reason it is area specific and it is farming specific also. If you are maintaining breeders, you need to apply all type of vaccines. And if it is a fattening unit or if it is a buckling unit, there is no need to apply all type of vaccines. And it is time specific, it is to be repeated. And don't take it as granted that once PPR vaccine is applied, so it will give lifelong immunity for the breeders. So I frequently encounter such a frequently asked one frequently asked question, some hum to ET to de diya hai. So we have already given ET. So when it should be repeated? So this indication is given by the manufacturer itself. The immunity period depends on the make of the vaccine. So always try to follow the manufacturer's decision. And it is advised to apply all whatever the vaccines available in the market as per local need and as per prioritization. And important point is, it is not just inoculating the vaccine. The vaccination should be successful. That is the reason we call vaccination is a skilled job, and you always take precautions and follow protocols as per veterinarian's advice. And after vaccination, deworming is the most confusing one for many beginners. When to do, with what to do, and how to do. It is not a preventive measure, it is actually a curative treatment. There is no fixed schedule for deworming. This is the reason I have kept one point like fecal examination, periodical fecal examination, under the category of activities to be taken up periodically. So deworming depends on the fecal report only. So the choice of drug is to be as per the local vet's advice. Don't take the advices from the non-veterinarians. And fecal testing sample is mandatory from 10% of flock. And deticking. So deworming is control of internal worms, and deticking is control of external worms. There are certain medicines which can take care of both ecto and endoparasites like ivermectin. But deticking is to be done separately. Don't try to do both at a time. So deticking is also a part of curative treatment. It need not be done periodically. It is as and when required activity. There is no fixed schedule. It is need-based activity. So few farmers, they frequently do deticking by dipping the animal into the medicated water. Don't do like that. Until unless it is demanded, until unless there is a need, there is no need to go for deticking. And dipping is the best option for kids. For deticking, dipping is the best option in case of kids. And spraying is the best option in adults. And when we are deticking, spraying on farm environment is mandatory. Spraying on farm environment is mandatory along with deticking of it. This is another important point. In generally, it is missed with the traditional farmers. And hoof trimming. Hoof trimming is another important activity of farm management. In goat, the distance between tips is greater than sheep. This is the reason we don't find foot rot in goat. We found foot rot in sheep only, because there is no possibility of accumulation of mud in between the toes in goats. But hoof trimming is very much required in case of goats. So these are the few pictures. If hoofs are not trimmed, see the leg will be placed like this, a little bit towards outside. And if the hoofs are normal, these are the trimmed hoofs. So you can find the straight 90 degrees angle. And hoof should be like this. It should not be like this. And this is also a periodical activity. Hoof trimming is also periodical activity. Castration. Castration makes bucklings docile. And this is one of the frequently asked question. Kab karna hai, and when to do, how to do, and which method is best. And best age is weaning age. Weaning age is the best age. But castrates are called as wethers or wedders. In case of goat, all the bucklings which are castrated are called wether or wedder. In case of sheep also, the same term wether is used. Castrates relatively grows better. Relatively grows better if it is castrated during the weaning age. And castration improves meat quality also. There are two types of method. One is non-surgical method and surgical method. surgical method is not advised. And Bardijo method can be used. So there are Bardijo castrators of ovine type. They are available in the market. And this is also skilled job. By any chance, if the testicle is pressed, the animal will die. So farmer should not try from his side until unless he is skilled or experienced. And there is another method, illustrated method. So this can be done in the first or second week of life. You need to apply one band illustrator. So at this place, so you see these are the testicles, not to touch that testicles. And this is the mark where the elastic band is to be applied. And even if you do castration with Bardijo method also, this is the area at least 1 inch above the testicles area. And both the sides, it should not be the same area where it is to be pressed. So there should be little gap. See here, you see this is the area where it is to be crushed, and for another one either a bit lower or a bit upper side. So these are the certain precautions. These are the certain tips to be taken care while castrating the animals. Finally, whatever the type of breed and whatever the type of farming may be, a farmer should get optimum farm productivity, thereby optimum income for profitable farming. So with best farm management, one can get maximum productivity and profitability. With best management, farm management, one can get maximum productivity and maximum profitability. For this, one need to keep one emergency health kit also at the farm, because these farms are located far away from the nearby medical shops. Medical shops are always located in the towns or block headquarters or talukas. So need to have emergency health kit to treat the identified sick animal with primary health care, and always should be in consultation with an expert vet. So healthcare is the job chart of a veterinarian. Primary healthcare can be taken up by the farmer, but close observation ahead twice a day to identify sick animals is very, very important. We don't know when, because it is a life. So need to observe the flock or head twice a day and to follow all basic management principles, whatever I have discussed till now. That is all the 4 basic management principles are breeding, feeding, culling, and other management practices they come under a heading of heeding. So neglected farm management. Neglected farm management leads to lower productivity and increased production cost, because we need to invest money on treating the animals also. So automatically it increases the production cost. So finally, low profits and unsustainable. So goat farm management is not one-time or periodical activity. Please do remember, it is not one-time or periodical activity. It is a continuous activity, and it is a skilled job. And it should be the best. The management practice should be the best and should not be a casual activity. And here is a preventive healthcare chart for weaning of the kids. See, all those which I explained while discussing about the care of newborn, I have incorporated in a single chart. And this is end of my PowerPoint, end of my presentation. This is my contact number 8500-404016. This is my WhatsApp number also. If any one of the participant, if he needs any clarification or any further suggestion or guidance, they can contact me on my mail ID also. This is easy to remember also, grass2meet @gmail.com. Thank you all. Dr. Girish sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, I am here only.
If there are any questions, let us take up.
Sir, there are few questions. Because of time constraint, we can take few questions only,
Yes.
not the all. Dear sir, Priyanka Sharma wants to ask you that, dear sir, please tell me colostrum feeding and contraindications with mastitis. What should be given to kid if the farmer is very poor? Question is quite confusing,
Yeah, that's
but
what I
she
am
wanted
thinking.
to know that what is the relation between colostrum feeding and mastitis, development of mastitis in dam.
So you sent that question to me on my WhatsApp. So I have to go through it again.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Then we will take one or two questions only.
See, there is one question on the screen. Can we feed azolla to the goats?
Yes.
It can be given. It can be given. But see that the dry matter percentage is high. So next question.
Questions. Modern techniques for detection of silent heat in does in breeder farm. Dr. Badrinaran Chand would like to know which are the modern techniques for detection of silent heat.
Sir, if a buck is made available with the breeders, so it will naturally identify the breeders which are in heat.
In my view, also, sir, both they shows the prominent heat centers. So
Yes.
heat detection may not be the problem in case of both.
For each and every activity need not depend on certain things because it always leads to expensive farming.
And one more question is that how a small goat farmer can arrange to feed colostrum within 30 minutes if delivery of goat done in mid or late night.
So this is the reason in the prerequisites I have mentioned that stay at the farm is very important. Person supervision is very important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. There are many questions, but we will email those questions to you so that they will be answered the participants. And due to time constraint, we have to stop here for this presentation. From organizer side, I am very much thankful to you for such an elaborative and informative session. So you conducted two sessions, and both the sessions were really mind blowing. As far as the goat farming concerns. So you have covered almost all important parts of the goat farming and how one can increase the profitability under different climatic zones in India. So that's what. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your such a great time, compassion towards this sheep and goat sector. Thank you very much, sir. I am very much thankful from organizers and participants.